In the service, I would go into some brief announcements, and we would bring the kids up here and head on out. But what we want to do today instead is the leadership of the church and I are going to fill you in on how we spent our Memorial Day weekend, which was in visioning for the church. And there's a lot of great things to tell you about. There's a lot of excitement around the work that we did. I'm going to ask folks to come up as we have them do their slides, and I'm going to thank you, Henry. Need the other mic for that. You the man. All right. Let's see if I can. Is this even on? Yes? No? Okay, it just flashed at me. Yeah? No? All right, let's see where I got to get to. No? Yeah, I am pressing the down button. Okay, thanks. All right, so go ahead and give me the next slide. So how did we get here? Why would we as a church decide that we need to do something different? Well, the honest truth was the church was in danger of closing, all right? And it's real simple math, all right? Currently, our year-to-date expenses, and this is as of the day that we cut this off, we're around $73,500. We'd only received around $65,800, and that indicated that we were running a monthly deficit that averaged about $1,500. And right now, we have about $3,000 left in our general fund after payroll went out at the end of the month. So that, as you can see, is not sustainable. There are a lot of reasons for this, and we'll go into some of them. But the bottom line is we got to change. We had to make some changes, and we have done a lot of work on what are going to be effective changes to move the church forward. So some of the fiscal shortfalls will be handled by making some of the changes that we've already made, but as you'll see, we have had to do some more trimming, especially in payroll, in order to help make this work. So go ahead and give me the next slide. Bottom line, if the trends continued unchanged, we would exhaust our financial reserves before the summer is out. And then the real thing we had to look at was Unity of Birmingham is and has been on a negative growth trajectory for some time. And if it continues on this path, we will be forced to discontinue operations and close our doors. So that was the problem set we were looking at when we went into last weekend. And I should tell you that the folks that did this were basically the board and Steve and Kristen, our primary staff, and I went into this and said, okay, what are we going to do? So go ahead and give me the next slide. And some of this stuff that we used is not just something that we made up or is even unique to churches. When we talk about the 5 stages of organizational decline, those are universal across industry, and this is really coming from some business people who have studied the life cycles of businesses. So, and we talked a little bit, I think, about this in our kind of the last meeting that we did, where Stage 1 of the decline is hubris born of success. We think we're so good, nothing will fail. And so we try, doing other things, which leads us into the undisciplined pursuit of more. Okay, we were doing, good with that. Let's try this other thing. I bet you we can, make even more money, do even more with that. It pulls us away from our core mission. So then we get into trouble, but we say, you know what? And we're really good at this in Unity. There's no trouble. Things are great. It's all wonderful. There's no cracks in the basement wall. There's no reason to be concerned. Yeah. And then things go off the cliff. And, then we're grasping for salvation. Oh, we're going to try this new thing, and it's going to be great, and it's going to fix everything. And then it doesn't. And then we go, oh, we're going to try this other new thing. It's going to be great. It's going to fix everything. And, you end up in trouble. Finally, the last stage, the one from which you really can't get back, is capitulation to irrelevance or death. At that point, the organization is it's a walking corpse. You're just waiting for it to, have the good decency to die. So this is kind of the data that we began working from. And this came from the work that we did with Reverend Beth. If you remember the Healing Our Past, Creating Our Future work that we did back before I deployed, all right? So this came from longtime members of the congregation. So go ahead and give me the first one, Barry. Nope. I thought there was a build in that last slide. Nope, go on back. Okay. Back. Okay. Well, can you just get me to the slide? Okay, keep going. There we go. Okay, so bottom line is, as we look at this, all the way back in the time with Reverend Jerry and Reverend Beverly, all the way back there, if you look over on the right-hand side, you see, things like multi-level marketing and church split and mismanagement of finances. We went into stage 2 of our decline that far back. All right? And bottom line is that by the time, there we go, stage 2 decline, thank you. All right? And then, stage 3 decline happens when, and remember, stage 3 is when we're in denial about the things that are going wrong. People were uninformed about Jerry's health, and for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, Jerry was the guy that was minister here for 31 years who died of cancer while he was the minister, right? So we went into stage 4 decline somewhere around, in between when Reverend Mark was here, who was the interim between Jerry and my former wife and ministry partner and I, all right? So we were in stage 4 decline about the time that I showed up here 5 years ago. And we're trying to stay out of stage 5 because at that point we're toast. So where are we right now? This is, based on everything we know, we are like right before we get to stage 5. Things are at a dire point, which is why we realized basically we have a choice. Go ahead, give me the next one. This is and based on, in terms of the autopsy of a deceased church, that's actually a very good book by a guy that took a look at 14 different deceased churches and found commonalities among them. So if we look at this, our diagnosis is this church is very sick. We've had significant numerical decline. We're not known about in the community. Almost nobody in this community would know what Unity of Birmingham was if you didn't tell them. We don't have a whole lot of new members showing up right now. We've been through some pastors, and the good old days are, we talk about back then instead of now being the good days. So what we did is we went in and we looked at what is the problem? How did we get here? What is the bottom line root cause? Is it somebody else's slide by now? Okay, I'll shut up. So who we got? Yeah, I get on a roll. It's like preaching.
So this was one of the more difficult parts of our weekend, where we took a look at why we were where we think we were, and we did kind of a brainstorming activity and asked 5 whys. I mean, you start with an idea, we don't have new people coming in. Ask yourself, okay, why is that? And we went through this exercise, and here are some of the things we came up with. We weren't growing because we weren't outwardly facing the community. We didn't have a marketing budget. We weren't kind of getting out there and spreading our message. People weren't feeling inspired to invite their friends and family. Let's see. We did not have a presence at UAB and some of the schools around, and we thought that was a problem. Absence of inspiration. So we weren't connected with the mission statement. Even though we had all been reciting it every Sunday, I couldn't say it when I was asked, what's our mission statement? So that was part of what we came up with. Okay, I think you can move to the next one. Okay, and the choice.
Also, in the autopsy of a deceased church, which all of us did read or listen to by video, audio, cassette, it said that when you know that you're in decline, you need to make a choice. You're either going to choose to die with dignity or get into the hard work of doing something different and become a meaningful church. And it gives you some options on how to die with dignity, things that will benefit another congregation or another church. So there'll be some benefit of us deciding to end it. But that was never even a consideration. We took the vote, and the entire board and staff that were present all decided unanimously to fight for this church, fight for our survival. And that's what we're going to do. So the next thing for me to do is to change the budget around and give us now some money that's going to be available for outreach. Taking another look at the budget, there was no line item for outreach. Well, now we have that. And with some of the cuts that we made in other places in the budget, and that'll come up later, we have now a funded outreach line as a budgeted item. Next slide, please. Okay, this is a little bit of a wordy quote, but what basically it's telling us is it's not just about survival. It's about becoming relevant in the community and the city that we live in. If we were to go away, there should be a hole created by our absence. Would we have that today? Maybe not. So we're going to make some changes to make ourselves relevant in this community and in this city so that we're going to matter to the city of Birmingham. Thank you. Miriam?
So how are we going to do that? Well, first off, we have to stop the bleeding. I don't really like that way of saying it, but that's kind of what's happening here. And so we have to take action pretty quickly. And so what does that mean? It means that we have to seek out cheaper providers for our services, and that means we've got to change up how we do the bulletin, the building maintenance. We have to terminate people who are not considered essential at this time, but this is a temporary thing, of course. We don't want this to be ongoing, but just for right now, we've got to do this, and it's a very hard decision to make, believe me. And so that means things like hospitality, paid nursery, YFM, except for just 2, because we have to at least have 2 people there so that when our parents come, children are also, we have a ministry with them as well. And so you got to have at least 2. And then eliminate funding for our church manager and our tech director. So further salary reductions had to do with the musicians, Dr. Steve and Reverend Charles. So that's what's happening now. Next slide. And then step 2, begin some proactive measures. The actions that we're taking right now are beginning to track attendance, which you see right now with the little pew pads. So if you all can help us by filling those out each time. Personal pastoral follow-up with every church member. Those are some of the things, as well as members committing to personally noticing and welcoming visitors. We all encourage you to do that. And pointing them out to Reverend Charles. And as you've probably noticed, Reverend Charles has been coming to all of the various activities here at the church all the time, every time.
Except childbirth class.
Okay.
Not doing that one.
And then 3 to 6 month strategy based on a revised mission and vision. Okay, so that's for that. So now, crafting a strategy to restore our church. We've got a quote here, which I'll let you take some time to read over. Okay, so what does that mean that we need to do when we're crafting our strategy? Well, first off, next slide, please. We had to ask ourselves, what is our mission? And we had to really brainstorm on that, and it took lots and lots of hours. We spent many hours over here at the church working on what is our mission. Who is our customer? Who are the people that we need to be, doing church for, right? And lastly, what is our plan? And so we had to spend lots of time brainstorming and then whittling it down to the actual things that we thought were very relevant and important. Okay, next slide. So current mission.
All right, so as you know, we had to make some changes, and I was thrilled that we all voted to keep this church. All of our hands went up unanimously. We weren't willing to let it go. It means too much to too many. So we had to change some things. Our current mission, it was we demonstrate divine love through spiritual practice, joyful community, and inspired outreach. Well, we kind of felt like those were more words than what we were really feeling like we were doing. They weren't inspiring, they weren't compelling. So, next slide, we changed our mission. Now we realize that changing lives is always the starting and ending point. A mission cannot be impersonal. It has to have deep meaning, be something you believe in, something you know is right. And it's a fundamental responsibility of leadership to make sure that everybody knows the mission, understands it, and lives it. Like Christina said, I was embarrassed that I could not recite our old mission statement because I didn't feel it in my heart. So we've got another quote from Jim Collins. When you formulate a mission, it's become, if anything, even more important as our world becomes increasingly disruptive and turbulent. No matter how much the world changes, people still have a fundamental need to belong to something they feel they can be proud of. They have a fundamental need for connection to other people, sharing with them the common bond of beliefs and aspirations. They have a desperate need for a guiding philosophy, a beacon on the hill to keep in sight during dark and disruptive times. More than any time in the past, people will demand operating in autonomy, freedom plus responsibility, and will simultaneously demand that the organizations of which they are a part stand for something. We want to have meaning. We want to matter in the community. Next slide.
So in formulating a mission, we had to bring these three components together. The first one, of course, is opportunities, commitment, and competence. We had to stop and think about where Unity's at in all of this. And there's many more opportunities than what you see up here, but this is a starting place. We don't want to do too much too soon. We need to develop with a few, mostly geographically close to Unity. We're thinking, the Highland Avenue area, UAB. We've got Planned Parenthood a few doors down. We'd like to get active with assisting them with their needs. We've got groups that we want to bring our message to, so those are opportunities for outreach for us. We've got, the LGBTQ community, Black Lives Matters, we've got voting and registration issues and all kinds of things in this community that we could be a part of. So you can read through the list there and we'll go on to the next one. And our competencies, we had to stop and think about that. We came up with these top three. Of course, we've always considered ourselves inclusive, so that's one of the pluses of how we operate our mission. And radical love, I like to think of that as the love that Jesus taught us, and striving for that within our community here and outward. And then also raising consciousness. Reverend Charles touched on that today. And so we want to help people in raising their level of consciousness and to be healthier individuals. And then we, in formulating the mission, we had to have commitment. What are the things that Unity wants to commit to? And we've got our top three here. Just mentioned the social justice for the marginalized, loving relationships through that radical love. And then the healing modalities that Unity offers to the congregation and the community, We've got many of them. We'd like to have more. So that's where we're at on that. And who gets it next?
Question 2 is, who is our customer? Define customer in the nonprofit sector. Who must be satisfied for the organization to achieve its results? We had to think about that. Defining customer in the nonprofit sector. Primary customer is the person whose life is changed through our work. So all the outreach that we're doing, the people that need us, the people that will benefit from what we do. Supporting customers are volunteers, members, all of us, partners, funders, referral sources, employees, etc. We need lots of support to carry on. Question 2, who is our customer? The primary customer, those who need our help. The religiously abused, recovering Christians, people on the opportunity list, the LGBTQIA, UAB, Highland downtown area, the Highland area, hippies, eco folks, Planned Parenthood, clinic protectors, and those who are hurting, which is almost everyone. Supporting customers are us, the current congregation. I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel.
Amen.
That was Maya Angelou.
Me from now on. All right, so we had to come up with our new vision, which inspires us to a new mission and get some goals that actually match that. Give me the next one. All right, so our plan encompasses the mission, the vision, the goals, and then what we're going to do. Next one. So the vision statement that we came to when we laid out all these things that we're good at, all these things that we want to see, are we envision all people experiencing heaven on earth right here, right now. What's funny is that goes back to the Great Commission. Jesus told his people to go out and let people know the good news, and that is the good news, that the kingdom of heaven is among us right here, right now. Amen? All right. And, right? And so it's like, okay, how do we say that real easy? Heaven now, y'all. Right? And we can even make a hashtag heaven now y'all out of that. So that's us, right? We have that on what is it? Twitter? Hashtag heaven now y'all. That's us. All right? So okay, so go back one. So from that, if that's our vision, that's where we want to get to. We want to get to that world where everybody's experiencing heaven on earth right here, right now. What's ours to do? We're going to heal the world through radical love. That's our mission statement. Healing the world through radical love. Okay? Healing the world through radical. Okay, everybody can remember that after I say it 5 or 6 times, right? But I won't do it all today. All right, but that's a whole lot easier than the other one, right? Healing the world through radical love. We can do that. All right. So we got to start somewhere, and we got to start, baby steps and low-hanging fruit, basically. Stuff that's right around us was the idea. So first thing we want to do is increase attendance here through personal contact by 25% by September. All right? We want to develop a relationship with Planned Parenthood, who is 1 block away from us. We want to create more points of entry, that is, ways that people can find us, ways that people can become involved. We want to be part of the Faith in Action community, and Christina can tell you all about that. And we also want to know how we can better take care of the people who are already here. Barry? So, what we want from you, the first thing we need to do is we need to change our perception about what we're doing. And you can remember it by using the acrostic SONIC. Okay? Sacrifice. Be willing to sacrifice your personal comfort in order to reach the community. I know we've always done it this way, and I liked it this way, but maybe we'll reach more people if we do it this new way. So, you know what? I'm going to give up my little ego self, and I'm all in. I'm going to do that. Be open to new experiences, new people coming through the doors, and new opportunities that you haven't experienced previously, right? New. Embrace our new mission, our new vision, and our goals. Find something in that appeals to you and be willing to jump in on it. Integrity. Communicate in integrity. If you have an issue with any of this stuff or anything else that's going on, I don't like the coffee out there at the coffee bar. I don't like something you said in the service today, Reverend Charles, right? Take those issues directly to the person involved, which in a lot of cases may be me. I am not as scary as I seem, honestly. I don't bite. Most people. Commit. Be willing to reach your tribe for unity. So in other words, if you are like seriously into yoga and you yoga all the time, be willing to be an ambassador to your yoga community, for unity. Say, hey, I got a church that I go to that, would probably go pretty well. You ought to come. Our kids do yoga sometimes. You ought to come check it out. Or if you're in some other kind, you play bridge, right? Somebody in your bridge club's looking for a new church. They don't have to go to one of those mega churches where they have a fog machine. They could come here. You could talk about that, right? So that's kind of the change in the mental environment. Now, these are the steps we want you to actually take with your feet and your hands and your voice, right? Write down the vision or the mission statement, the new one, whichever most profoundly speaks to you. Put it on your bathroom mirror or someplace you're going to see it every day, and we're going to roll that out on the website and on social media, so it'll be easier for you to do that. Invite at least one friend or family member to church once a month, okay? We'd like for you to do more, but if just everybody did once a month, one invite a month, which is doable, we're going to see this place grow, all right? Volunteer once a month, okay? So invite one person a month, volunteer one time a month. And pick a ministry, whether that's, YFM, which Kristen's going to talk about in just a second. Ushering, doing music, helping at one of our outreach events. We're going to have the Pride Parade is coming up on the 9th. Okay, so we're going to be pushing out some information about that. Or suggest something new that we may not know about. There may be a great way that we can reach out into the community that we don't know about. We'd love to have you tell us what that is, and we'll get on it. Tithe 10% of your income to Unity. Give in faith to the place where you're spiritually fed. Those are simple things you can do. Learn the statement. Back up one. Learn the statement. Invite somebody. Volunteer. Tithe. So that's all, the bottom three are basically tithing of your time, your talent, and your treasure, right? Yes, we're going to have sign-up sheets out on the high top table in the lobby for everyone to volunteer, and for a couple of specifics on volunteering for YFM, I'm going to have Kristen say just a word. Or 3.
3 or 10. All right. So as you saw, we have rearranged our funding for the YFM. And every Sunday we have myself and Jamie, and then we have 2 paid staff members downstairs. But we will not have those paid staff members as of next Sunday. So I need your help. We cannot have 20 kids downstairs with only 2 adults. So it's big, but it's going to be fun. We love having all these kids down there, and we will love having new faces come downstairs too. So it's going to be really, really wonderful. I have a sign-up sheet, Jeff, if you'll actually pass that around. I've got 3 spaces on there for each Sunday, and if you guys are feeling led, please put your name down there on your phone number or your email so I can get in touch with you. Also, there's a sheet behind it. We do background checks on everybody. It's a quick thing. The church covers the cost. It's no big deal. If something's an issue, please talk to me beforehand and we'll get it taken care of. It's going to be really, really wonderful. So I need you guys to step up and help us with the kids. We can't do church without the kids. These guys are the future, and we need it to be amazing and wonderful for them, and y'all are the people to do it. So thank you.
Yeah, as far as that background check thing goes, if you had a problem with a student loan back in the 1980s, don't worry about that. That's not a big deal. No big deal at all. It's not like credit cards. Not like that. Okay? Okay. So, any questions? Comments? Concerns? Anything? All right, I think I saw Polly first. Yes, we will push this out on our website and have links to it from social media. We can do that, right? Okay. Who else? Bob?
I love this. I love you guys. I'm so excited.
Yay!
And I have this is too big for right now, but one issue I've always had with the form of our church is that we enter through the back of our church. And I feel like so much of the community doesn't see all of this love that's going on in here coming out of our front toward the porch. So just to put it out there to the universe, I don't know what that is, but it's just like having all this massive, like, cosmic love blast happen, and then it's behind a screen in some way. So I'm thinking, how can people see us and see the love that we have?
You know, we could open up this entrance to the church, right? That one has an air conditioner in it, so it's kind of clogged. But we can do that. We could do that. Thank you. That's a great idea. Yeah.
I don't get tech stuff, but the hashtag,
Heaven now, y'all.
when, like, if we're on Facebook and we put something and we put that hashtag on there, I mean, what does that do? Does that tie us to our website? Okay, so it'll just kind of,
It's another way of getting us out there.
okay.
Yeah.
So use it.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yeah. We're going to have buttons that have that on them, too.
Hey, y'all. First of all, the hashtag is just beautiful. You know, I mean, heaven now and y'all. Is that not more perfect for Birmingham Unity? My name is Dallas, and I have to tell you that I had the wonderful opportunity to meet with Reverend Charles, right after he got, I don't know how many weeks ago it was, but the bottom line is 2 years ago, I was in contemplative prayer, crying about what's happening in the world, and I like divinely guided inspiration to start Think Love First. And so on June the 16th, we're going to have a general meeting. I have about 57 people throughout the community already signed up on Meetup, but we're going to host it here. And my heart is to separate in small groups and to do acts of service. So I'm excited about this. I've been asking God. I said, this is much bigger than me. I can't do it all myself. If you see hashtag Think Love First, you'll see everything that I've posted for the last few years. But I'm really, really excited. And there is the biggest thing I think that we are a beacon for, are the people that say, I'm spiritual, I'm not religious. And many people ask me what kind of minister I am. Well, I'm ordained with Life Christian University. I'm also a reverend with Alliance of Divine Love. So it's an interfaith ministry. But I love Jesus. I've always loved Jesus, but I never put God in a box. And we don't put God in a box here. And that's, I think, a very big thing we can tell people. We believe our God is bigger than the box, right?
Yeah.
Amen. Thank you.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. You got something, Peter? Ah.
So something that I think would be really good and miss here, some of the guest speakers and more esoteric classes like the pranic healing classes and courses through Greg and some of the other people that I think were a big boost in income for the church. Maybe reaching out to James Redfield, see if he would want to do more workshops here or do something like people that, have been through the church and have done a lot. So maybe reboosting guest speakers and then really just the esoteric kind of stuff, which I think draws a lot.
Well, we are going to start doing the healing touch stuff again on the first Sunday of the thanks for bringing that up. On the first Sunday of the month, we were going to start it this weekend, but we're doing this instead. But first Sunday of the month from now on, we're going to be doing that healing touch ministry, thank you, that's the word, like that. So that's a start. But yeah, we'll I won't make you put up with just me all the time. Yeah, we'll get some good speakers in here. And actually one of the reasons that I'm kind of going to be doing the speaking for a while is that one of the things that we identified, one of the reasons we're having some serious problems right now was the lack of consistency over the past 10 months while I was deployed. So I'm just trying to give people some consistency for a little while. And then we're going to start bringing people in, yeah. Yeah, that too, yeah. Right. Okay, awesome, yeah. You bet.
I was just wondering, I don't know how this works. I'm new to this church, and do you guys have like an outreach team already, kind of dedicated specifically to keeping the outreach going on out, off scenes while the church isn't in session?
So that's a great question, and the honest answer is not outreach in terms of outreach. We have had an outreach team that has been doing kind of very focused philanthropic things. Like we go visit the folks at the Greenbrier, like we did, was it a year ago on Memorial Day, and did a program for them. Or we collected things for a small school, or but it wasn't outreach in terms of getting our face out in the community at a lot of outreach events, like showing up at festivals and having a booth and being able to explain who we are. Right? Does that make sense? There's outreach, philanthropy, and then there's outreach being a visible part of the community. Okay, and that last one is the one we have had zero going on in. But you absolutely will. Yeah. So so there was awesome. Let me know. Okay. Who else we got? Anybody else with a comment, question, concern? Some love. Thank you. Absolutely.